Guys, welcome back to our Vision Farm. Today we're going to take you along with us to pick a couple veggies to add into tonight's dinner. And I got my helper over here ready to pick stuff. It's his favorite thing to do in the garden. I'm thinking I'm going to make some grits, and I have a kielbasa sausage that I pulled out. So what I like to do to stretch out the sausage is add a bunch of veggies, and I'm going to mix that into the sausage as a topping for our grit. So I don't really know what's going to be ready to harvest, but we're just going to pick at least a couple greens. I don't know if we'll have any carrots left or ready to pick, but I'm going to see if maybe we can get a couple of those, and let's just see what we can find. So the carrots I have is over here. I just don't know if they're going to be ready for harvest, but you want to try to pick one, Jaden, and see. The way I can usually tell if a carrot is ready to harvest is if you dig a little bit in the ground and you could kind of feel it. And then also pick the ones with the thickest stems. That's usually how I can tell, but these might not be ready. But if we could get at least one or two, that would be good. Yeah, they're okay. In Florida, carrots don't get super big anyway, but let's try to get one more. Alright, so we got 2 carrots there. Alright, back here we have some greens that I definitely want to trim. I believe these are turnip greens. I'm not sure. Or what is a vegetable? It's like a root vegetable that's white. Maybe parsnips or some type of white radish. But I'm not going to harvest the actual root. I want the green part of it. So we're going to clip some green to fill up our pot. And this is going to wilt down and kind of act as like a mustard green, turnip greens, collard greens. So trim some of that into the pot. And then I'm not going to pull them out, because if you continue trimming the leaves off of these, they'll continue to grow more greens. Yeah, there's some turnips mixed into here too. You can see it's kind of purple down here. It's kind of hard to see. But what I just want today is some leaves. And then back here is some overgrown radishes. These will just feed to the animals at this point, because you can see they're very big. So I'm not going to eat those anymore. Here's some more.
Oh, there's scattered.
There is some more carrots back here too, but same thing. They're too young still. I can pick some of these younger leaves. I think these are collards. I don't think they're cabbage. I thought in the beginning they were cabbage, but I think they're just young collards. So pick a couple of those. So that's what we got from this garden. I've been trying to work in the gardens every single day. That was my goal for this year, was to do something in the gardens, no matter what garden. At least once a day, rain or shine. So, and that includes turning on the sprinklers. If I'm having like a super busy day, can't physically plant anything in the garden, then at the very least turning on the sprinklers or planting, even if it's just one seed. I got some tomatoes that we harvested a couple days ago. We can pick all the ripe ones. So I got a bowl of these. Pick all the red ones. So I'm just going to add on into what I already have, but those are going to cook nicely down with the greens, make like a nice sauce for the grits. This is a volunteer tomato plant that we had grow. So let's just pick all of the ripe ones and cook that down with our sausage. It just keeps on producing. I don't do anything at all to this tomato plant. It just grows on its own. I don't water it, don't fertilize it, and it just keeps on producing. I think these are Florida Everglade tomatoes. I'm not really sure, but they're little teeny tiny, maybe cherry tomatoes. But they just kind of grow and reseed themselves every year, so I don't know. Someone told me that they could be Florida Everglade tomatoes. Our loofah plant has pretty much dried up, so I'm going to be harvesting those soon so they can dry out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good-sized loofahs from this plant. But I'd rather them just dry on their own on the vine as much as possible before I go picking them. Alright, let's go to the garden over there next to the red shed. Alright, this is mainly our herb garden, but we do have some pigeon peas that should be ready to harvest. So I'm going to do that for sure right now, especially if this plant is loaded. So with pigeon peas, the way you know they are ready to pick and eat is when you can touch them and it feels like a big solid bean is in there. So that is how these feel now. You can let them dry on the tree, and so that you can have like dry beans for storage. But for today, I'm going to pick some fresh ones. And let me try to open one up so you can see what it looks like inside. And they can be eaten like that when they're still green. So that is what it look like when they're still green. So you don't cook the shell part of it, you just cook the inside. So I'm going to toss in that into tonight's dinner. But if you do let them dry out on the tree, they'll turn more shriveled up and brown color, or like a tannish color sometimes, depending on what type of pigeon pea it is. But that's how we're going to eat it right now. They're pretty tender once they get cooked down a little bit. So that's how we're going to harvest just like 2 handfuls for tonight. Pigeon peas are also really good for improving the nitrogen in your soil. So even if you don't necessarily like the taste of pigeon peas, or even though it doesn't make a lot unless you plant like a whole field of them, it's still improving the quality of your soil, especially here in Florida. Pigeon peas grow really easy, and at the same time it's improving the soil, so that is always a bonus. And just from one tree you saw how much pigeon peas we're having, and we have all these trees over here. Some are just now flowering, so we're gonna have lots. And then if you just leave it dry on the tree, eventually you'll get a whole bunch more pigeon peas. You'll save the dry seeds either for eating at a later time or for planting for the next year, and just keep them going all year long. Jaden found a tiny little garden spider on one of the pigeon peas.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's focusing. Alright, do you think that... Oh, you dropped it. You think that's enough?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Alright, pick the ones we dropped. Now let's see if there's anything in the last garden. What else was I gonna get here? Let's get some oregano while we're here. Just a couple little sprigs of oregano. Right here. And then we still have our potted rosemary here. I'll probably pick one of those. Pick like 5 little stems. And then here, cut me 2 of these stems right here. Alright, last garden we have, these are mustard greens, so get maybe like 2 leaves off of there, the biggest leaves. Whichever ones, just pick 2 leaves. We're going to wash them really good so that'll get all of the bugs and dirt off of it. Not too much else going on here. We still have green beans, but they are not producing yet, still flowering. You could pick 2 leaves of this turnip plant too. We have sweet peas growing, but again they're flowering right now, so not quite ready to eat yet. And we just planted a bunch of things over here too. Like I said, every day I'm trying to plant something or clear out a chunk of weeds from our garden, or at the very least set the sprinklers, so that every single day something is getting done in the garden, because that is the goal that I set for myself this year. That'll just help not have like an abandoned garden. These are radishes. So I can keep up with it and continue to grow things year round. So that is it in here. Mostly beans that are not ready yet, and just the newly sprouted items. I think these sweet peas will be ready soon. Once they start looking like this, they'll start growing the actual peas. So we'll eat those fresh in salads. And the green beans should be any week now they'll start. But we don't have any to pick today. But I think we got quite a pot full over here. We're gonna wash all this, peel all the pigeon peas. I'm gonna add the tomatoes that we picked a couple days ago, and that will cook down into a sauce as well. Alright, the grits are almost cooked. These are smoked grits, and I just added some cheddar cheese to melt in there. So this still has to go for a little bit longer, but that is pretty much done. I just have it on low now. And then this is the finished sausage, and I put some leftover ham in there too with all the veggies. And as you saw, I added a bag of store-bought frozen green beans just to stretch it out even more. But that is all the veggies that we picked, mixed with the sausage, some butter, a little bit of hot sauce, and seasonings. And that's what it ends up looking like.